What's up, everybody? We're back. Sports
Howdy.
2.0 weekly golf show. Justin Onken here with Grant Bale. Not a lot of golf news to talk about outside of the actual playing of the events. No Brooks Bryson this week, really. Brooks is still recovering from his knee issue, so he's going to be pretty much only gearing up for majors, I would guess, all summer. So we're not seeing him this week, but do have a strong field. We're missing a few guys. No DJ, no Brooks is kind of interesting, but it'll be a good week. But first, Grant went on a heater last week. I hit a couple bets, but Grant pretty much ran the board, so the floor is yours.
Yeah, it was a good week. I think that's, second or third outright of 2021, I think, for myself, and I think third, yeah. And it's nice to happen here on week one. The Sunday showdown between Coke and Spieth was what we wanted with the number, but it wasn't what the viewers wanted because it was kind of ugly, but it was fun.
As a person who was holding a Coke rack outright, Spieth wasn't necessarily the guy I was jazzed to see him going head-to-head against on a Sunday based on 10-11 wins to 1, but he got it done.
Not. I was nervous, but he got it done. He played just good enough, and sometimes in golf, that's all you need to do. And it was a really fun week. Griot played amazing on Sunday compared to the field, which got him into the top 20. Brian Harmon was great, which got him into the 20. We both won our matchups, which is more money there. And the first margin bet of the year, 2-stroke, Kokrak put in the 5-footer right at the end to keep the 2-stroke victory.
Yeah.
And that just adds to the fun. Just like I said, if you don't have a guy on Sunday, having a margin bet is the perfect way to follow. And it just worked out great.
What, 2 strokes is like what, plus 350 most weeks?
350,
That's a good extra hit. I was on Hoffman. He finished third. He had a really strong weekend, but he just got way too far behind. But all in all, good start. Now we're headed to the Memorial Jacks tournament. It's a big event, one of the bigger regular PGA Tour events on tour. Muirfield Village in Ohio. It's a historic course, but Jack has laid his fingerprints all over it over the last year. If you guys remember, about the time John Rahm putted out on 18 last year to win the Memorial, they were ripping up greens. They were going to renovate the course. I think they touched every green on the property, moved a bunch of bunkers, moved a bunch of tee boxes, changed a few sight lines. I don't know how much different it'll play tee to green, but I watched a couple videos of Jack talking about what he was looking for on the greens. He wanted some more pin options. I think some of the greens were set up to where it was going to be way too difficult to set certain pins, so he wanted to give himself some more options. I actually think that might make it harder. If he's only going to give himself little areas to put pins, it's not like he made the greens bigger. I think for the most part, I actually think they're smaller. I think they just kind of shifted their shape around, moved some of the bunkers, but I think that iron precision is going to be even more important. I mean, historically, this is maybe the most important course to have strokes gained approach ability on. I saw Justin Ray tweeted a stat that the average finish in strokes gained approach for the week at this event is 6.4 for winners. That's the lowest of any full field event on tour over like the last 10 years. Wow. Basically, strokes gained approach matters every week. Obviously, iron plays is the biggest indicator, but more so than any other tournament, this seems to be the one where you got to hit your irons, because if you miss the green, you're in trouble. It is the hardest scrambling course on tour, has been forever. Last year, there was 2 events here. They had the Workday Charity Open. Since COVID was messed up, they needed a filler, so they had the Workday Charity Open here the week before the Memorial. Those 2 events were the hardest 2 scrambling events on tour last year. And Memorial's always been that way. The rough is long. The greens are so fast, you have no chance if you miss the green. I don't think that's going to change. So iron play, we're looking for our iron players. And I think you could go 2 different ways. You could really lean in on the iron guys and think, hey, I'm going to get the guys that are going to hit 75, 80% of the greens. And, if they chip okay, I'm okay with that. Or you could go guys who are pretty good with their irons, but also really good with their short game, to make up for those missed greens. I think there's some different ways to go here. We'll see. Wide
Yes.
fairways. There's some wide fairways, so the Bombers are definitely in play this week. There are certain holes where you definitely have to play around missing bunkers. You can't take driver everywhere, but the fairways are plenty wide. Everybody's pretty much in play.
Yeah, an interesting thing that I've been looking at. I'm not sure how much it's going to weigh into all of my decisions, but some of it is how fast the putting is. Looking at the speed, not necessarily the type of green or type of grass that it is, but the speed of the putts. Looking at guys who can really putt on really, really, really fast greens, which is something I've been looking into recently, and I think it's seeped into some of my picks. Not all, but in a course like this, you just have to be on the green. It doesn't matter whether you're a good or a bad putter. I mean, it does matter, but at the end of the day, you have to at least give yourself the opportunity to have that putt. And if you're not giving yourself those opportunities, then it's going to be tough.
Yeah, definitely. Putting, for whatever reason, has not been a big indicator of success here. Some of the winners have putted just pretty average. I think that has to do with the greens aren't huge, so you don't have to putt great. And so many guys are missing greens that it's more about, making your pars, don't make your bogeys, make your birdies when you can. We'll see. I mean, they're bent grass greens now, so that they used to be Poa greens, which is kind of odd for the Midwest, but Jack said he specifically wanted to get rid of Poa, so back to bent. I prefer bent greens. Poa is really difficult for some of these guys. It really eliminates a decent portion of the field. Bent's kind of more neutral. Most guys putt pretty well on bent. So,
yeah, it's just going to be a challenge to see who can get there in two. And if you don't get there in two, can you put your next shot literally next to the hole? Exactly how we're talking about scrambling. So it's going to be fun to watch because guys could blow up or guys could go on bogey streaks at any time.
Definitely.
And there's just been looking at the past leaderboards. This sounds bad, but it's just good players. It's just guys who are really good at a lot of different things.
The pedigree of the winners here is legit. We're talking. Last year, there was two events, like I said, Rahm, Morikawa, and Morikawa beat Justin Thomas in a playoff. Patrick Cantlay, Bryson DeChambeau, recent winners. This is a high pedigree.
Is like the most all-around golfer ever. Like he just does good at everything, and he just finishes right there at all times. He's been amazing. Tony Finau's another one. Tony Finau is just good at golf, and he doesn't win a ton, but he's just right there, and he excels at a course like this. Like you said, Patrick Reed. And Cantlay, who we'll get into later, but Cantlay has just been unbelievable.
Yeah, so I think the books have taken that into account this week. I'm going to go on a short rant here. All the Illinois books, I'm talking to you, 14 matchups for one of the biggest tournaments of the year, not enough. We got to have more matchups than that. If you're talking big offshore books, they have a lot. You can catch up. Go to Circa Sports. I'm sure the Circa is offering all kinds of matchups. We've had sports gambling in Illinois for, I think, a year now, or really, really close to a full year, maybe over a full year. Time to step up the golf betting. Grant's been on the margins, the margin bets in golf every week. All of a sudden, they're just gone this week. And there's 11 guys priced at 20-1 or shorter. That's too many. You got to spread it out. I get that they're really good, but only one guy is going to win the tournament. And if you're going to put 11 guys at 20-1 or better, you got to give us something in the 30, 40, 50 range that can actually win the golf tournament. And I looked at the board and it's like, man, I can't see anybody outside of maybe one or two guys down the board that even have a realistic shot with how good the field is. And it's frustrating. I don't like betting guys at 16-1. I don't like betting them at 14-1. I'll pick one a week maybe and pair them with guys in 20s, 30s, 40 range because that's typically where the winners come from. But I don't think so this week. There's too many guys priced too short, and I'm probably just going to pick two or three and just stay up top this week. Keep my card a little shorter. I usually like to spread it out, but it's disappointing, sports books. It's disappointing.
This happens too often when the strength of the field and the names of guys come into play, and the books don't adjust for, like you said, only one person can win. There's not two winners or three winners this week. It's the same thing every single week. So it's so tough that when you add these names and guys like Bryson or it's guys who are just all over social media and like just people bet on no matter what. Victor Hovland is a clear example. People love to bet Victor
That's a
Hovland.
crazy number.
Insane. It's absolutely insane.
Bryson, Victor's the second favorite this week at 14-1.
Yeah.
He's got 2 wins, and neither of them, they're both in garbage fields. I love Vic, but that's a stupid number. He should be 20, 22 at least in this field, not 14. And the books really put a lot into the course history. Like, oh man, Cantlay's won here. We got to put him super high. And I get it, and I definitely look at past performance at courses, but this tournament plays to the good players. They're all going to have good finishes at the tournament. That doesn't mean you can't hang them all at 16-1 and say good luck. So
if you adjust for course history, what about the bad course history? Right? So what about a good player who has bad course history? Why is his number not higher? So
yeah,
there's got to be some give and take.
Definitely.
The bets are going to keep coming in, but the only way for people to grow and enjoy and understand watch golf more is to give them better opportunities to feel like they can win. I mean, this is just like you're just taking money.
Yeah, if you're and for the casual guys out there who don't bet golf every single week or just want to put in a few outrights every week, you're wanting to take a shot at 30, 40, 50, 100 to 1, and the options there are just not very good. And so try to spread. I think that it should be spread out. I'm not an expert on hold percentage. I kind of understand exactly what it means, but I'd love for Bet Rivers or DraftKings or one of the books in Illinois this week to send me something that shows their hold percentage, because it's high. And I feel like we're kind of getting the shaft here a little bit, but I guess that's just part of it for now until there's a little more competition in the market. But that's a short rant. We'll move on to actual golf picks, but just be leery, shop around. There's enough books in Illinois now. Find the best number, fly to Vegas, go to Circa. Their numbers are always going to be better, it seems, based on stuff I've seen. But anyways, back to Memorial. Grant, outright picks. Who you like?
Yeah, my first guy is going to come from a low number, like we just said, and it's Justin Thomas. Justin Thomas is, when it comes to approach, he's the top. He's right there. People talk about him and Morikawa or whatever. Justin Thomas has been doing it forever. That's just his throne. And he's had 3 top 20s here since 2017. And one thing we talked about earlier was the other event that was played here last year, which was the Workday. And it played at the same weekend, right on the other side of it. And he got second there in a playoff to Morikawa, which is another crazy approach player. So I really like Justin Thomas this week at 14. There's a lot of guys priced right there at 14. I think his chances of winning are at the top. Bent is by far his best surface. He's not particularly playing crazy well right now, but I believe in good karma, and he just gave that younger golfer a check to keep his career going. And I think that some karma can come his way this weekend. And if he makes putts, this is the same thing with JT. You'll learn that if you watch the show, is that if he makes putts, it's a wrap. So if he makes some putts this weekend, he can just 2-putt, just avoid 3-putting, make all the shorties, and Justin Thomas will be right there at the top. Yeah,
I like JT. I'm probably going to, like I said, go up top for like 3 or 4 guys. Maybe, JT's probably going to be one of them. For me, though, first time in years that I've bet on a Spieth outright, but I'm going Jordan Spieth this week, 16-1. Some of the same reasons you are. If I'm going up for a guy at 16-1, I want some winning pedigree. I want some ability to win. And, like JT, they've got 10-plus wins each. They've proven they can do it. And Spieth is on an absolute heater right now. He won a few weeks ago, Valero. He's got 7 top 10s in his last 10 starts. That's pretty dang good. Second last week with a pretty average Sunday. I like him coming to bent grass greens. Bent's his best putting surface. And his short game is maybe the best in the world. He's second in strokes gained around the green, top 10 in scrambling. He's got all the goods for here. Plus, his irons have been elite. He ranks 12th strokes gained approach last 36 rounds, 6th, 6 straight starts gaining on approach. He does the things that I want a player to do for this event. He doesn't hit a ton of fairways. That's been his issue the last couple of years, but wider fairways here. Plus, he's had a ton of success here. He's got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 top 20s in like 7 or 8 tries. I think he's due for another win. He keeps knocking on the door. He's got too much win equity to not eventually break through again if he's going to keep finishing in the top 5.
Yeah, and sometimes when you're scrambling, you just need a little luck and a little magic. And if we know one thing, Jordan Spieth has a little magic in him.
He's got magic. He can reach in places and find it that other guys can't, especially with the flat stick. So, yeah.
Yeah, he clearly, is playing what we saw him. I mean, we sweated out our outright, against him on Sunday. And so if we could, hit the tail end, that wouldn't be terrible.
Yeah, definitely. I've got another guy that I like in a similar range. This is another person that I really do not bet very often, but Hideki Matsuyama. He took some time off after he won the Masters, which I think was good. I'm sure he lived it up in Japan. That was probably one of the biggest events for Japan all year. But he comes in at 25-1. He's played decent. He's played the Byron Nelson and the PGA since the Masters. Finished 39th, and then he finished in the top 20 at the PGA. He's an iron player. That's what he does. He hits it pretty far, and he's a really, really good iron player. His short game's pretty good. His putting is not very good. However, he's been better at putting. It's not been so bad. It's cost him tournaments. Clearly, we saw that. He just won the Masters. And 25-1, I kind of think he's as good as those guys that are priced at 20 and 18. He's got some wins. He's got some momentum from the Masters win. Plus, he has some really good history at Muirfield. He's got a win here. He's got 3 other top 15s. I just think there's a little bit of value there when, like we already talked about, the book isn't offering a lot of value this week. So I'm okay with him at 25 when, he's won more times than half those guys at 16, 18, 20. Tony Finau is priced ahead of him, and he can't win a golf tournament to save his life. So
I'm going to go with a guy who finished in the top 5 right behind Decky at the Masters. And this is Mark Leishman. Mark Leishman's number is 80-1, and we might say, there's no value, right? But this might be a little bit of a nugget. He's made every single cut here since 2012, and he's had 4 top 15s within that run here. He's an elite fast putter. When the greens speed up, Mark Leishman gets better at putting. His approach and his putting game recently haven't been the best, but he just finished top 5 in the Masters, like I said. He has it in him, and when it comes to approach play or just second shot golf courses, Augusta is right there. And if we're talking about that, it's going to correlate straight to this weekend. I really like Mark Leishman at 80. If he is there contending, you're going to really want that higher number because he's probably going to be contending with somebody who's, way, way lower than 80.
Yeah, that's one of those guys that are out there that I think there is some value on. There's definitely some guys down the board who've won some tournaments, but, Leishman's played some pretty good golf recently. Not really sure why he's priced way down there. I would say that's super, super recency bias, but
right.
But yeah, 80-1 for a guy who's proven he can win, especially big tournaments. He won the Genesis 2 years ago. That's just as big as Jack's tournament. So
right.
Top 10 for me this week. I'm going with Old Faithful, Xander Schauffele. I bet Xander top 10 a ton. He's got 4 top 10s already this year, plus 2 other top 15s. It's plus 150. I get it. It's not great odds, but he's played really well at the Memorial in the past. He does everything well. He hits his irons well. He drives it almost as good as anybody. His short game is super, super good. His putter's a little hot and cold. But, man, if I can get a guy who's as good all around as he is on a course that kind of asks you to do a lot of things, plus 150 on a top 10 on a guy who's proven he can do it. Last year, the first day of this tournament was like crazy, crazy windy, and he played late in the afternoon. I think he shot like 78. He ended up finishing 13th. He finished 14th the year before that. So he can grind it out with the best of them, and I love his short game and his iron profile for here. So I'm on him for top 10.
Yeah, I like this event for Xander because, like we said, he's just good at everything. There's not a lot of, we should watch out for this with Xander or be weary of this. He's going to be good at everything. And if you can find, when things get really challenging or things ramp up and you start to really learn about who's a good golfer and who has that next step. Xander's always there. He hasn't been getting those wins, but he's always right there in the mix. So we'll be both on him. I'm gonna go with Tony Finau for mine. Tony Finau, top 10, plus 188. He's a bent and a fast putter, so he's really good on bent and not really good, but it's his best surface. He's got really good course history here at the Memorial, and his irons are always good. He's been sneaky good around the green lately, which is kind of something I've been looking at, and I just like his kind of all around game. Just like you were saying with Xander, it's a lot of the same stuff. He's going to be hitting it far down in the fairway. He's going to be hitting those greens that other people struggle to. And if he can just roll in the putts, get really good lag putts, avoid 3-putting, which is just the killer of all killers. I think Tony Finau will be right there. He has the nickname Top 10 Tony for a reason.
Yep. I don't hate that at all. Matchups this week, like I said, not a lot offered. I did find one. Did you find anything that you really liked?
I found one that I like, and it's more about betting against somebody rather than betting with somebody, but I'm right there. I got
go ahead.
I'll go first. I got Patrick Cantlay over Bryson DeChambeau. This is minus 120. Like we said earlier about Patrick Cantlay, his course history here is crazy. And he kind of bounced back after kind of a bad run. He's been pretty good here recently. And with his course history and his skill level, Patrick Cantlay is just an unbelievable golfer. So when he's playing well, he's going to play well pretty much anywhere. Match that with a good course history. And the other thing I said is put him against Bryson. Bryson, like his brain got broke here last year. The course just like dominated him. He hit it like over a fence. He was all sorts of messed up. So I want to keep betting against him because match that with him. His iron game has not been very good this year. Last 24 rounds, strokes gains approach, he's like 57th. He's in the backside of 50, which is not what you want to be this weekend.
Nope.
I really like this bet at minus 120 because if I'm going to bet against somebody, it needs to be with somebody who has a high floor, and that's Patrick Cantlay at this event.
Yeah, I like that. My article this week from noobsports.com, go check it out. I had Morikawa over Bryson. I think I found that on FanDuel. For me, it's about floor with Bryson. His floor is pretty low. His irons can really, really get all over the place. And, if you're in the – plus, he doesn't hit a ton of fairways. So if he's in the rough here, hitting these greens is going to be tough. And his wedge game around the green is a little suspect. I mean, he uses like a 30-inch a 30-inch wedge to chip with. So how could you be so good? But I like that a lot. I had to dig around this week. I found something on William Hill that I liked. Stuart Sink over Matt Jones. Stuart Sink's been playing some really, really good golf, bringing back, throwback to the old guys. He's had 3 top 20s in his last 5. In his other 2 starts, he finished 37th and 30th. His floor is pretty high. He won the RBC. He has been on fire with his irons. He has gained no less than 4.5 strokes on approach in 4 of his last 5 tournaments. Matt Jones, he's not a bad player. He did get a win earlier this year, but he's too inconsistent. I'll take the floor of Stuart Sink. Sink has a pretty good track record here, too. He's played it a bunch. He's got some pretty solid finishes. So I'll just ride Stuart Sink on his little bit of a hot streak against a guy who can kind of be all over the place.
Yeah, I like that because Stuart Sink is just going to make the right decisions. He's not going to put himself out of it. If you lose a matchup with Stuart Sink, it's because more likely it's going to be because the other guy played really well or played well enough to beat him. Yeah. Stuart Sink's going to put you, in position. And, when he's that skilled and you're at a course, that is as challenging as this course might be this weekend, I like that position.
Yeah. All right. Top 20s. I'm going to a place that I don't typically go. Well, I shouldn't say that because recently I've gone there. Keegan Bradley might be the worst putter of the good players on tour. He's really, really found his game recently. His irons have been super, super good. He's got 3 straight top 20s. He hasn't finished worse than 30th since February. It's consistent. That consistency, being within a couple shots of top 20 every single week, can't ask for much more than that. Plus 150, I don't love 150 on a top 20, but with as good as he's been, plus he's got a really good track record at Memorial. He's played it a bunch of times, 3 career top 25s, and I think he's playing better than he ever has coming into this week. So I like him quite a bit.
Yeah, I'm just going to give the viewer a little tidbit. You have been against betting Keegan Bradley for a long time, up until recently.
He was arguably the worst putter on tour of anybody who has actual game.
But the fact that you've been betting him recently and winning, by the way, shows how good he's been.
Awesome.
Shows how good a guy like him, who you just cannot watch putting it, it's terrible. So the fact that he keeps finishing this high is like it's kind of like a testament to, hey, we're gonna try to keep winning money off him, because it's a run that we can't ignore it.
Yep, definitely.
I got a top 20 that's even lower, and it's 125, and it's for Patrick Reed. Patrick Reed is relative to the guys of his skill level, right? Those guys are also mispriced, but relative to those guys, Patrick Reed is mispriced compared to their numbers, because he's way up there in skill with these top dudes. And when courses get harder, Patrick Reed starts to gain more strokes. And I have this little stat right here, is that, and I looked it up this morning, is that as the course difficulty by round gets harder, so like easy, medium, hard, his strokes gain goes up on all 3 levels. Right, so as things start to get tough, Patrick Reed gets better. He got 10th here last year, and he's made the cut every single year that he's played here at Memorial. He's a great long par 4 and par 5 player, which is here's like the par 4 to like 450 to 500, which there's like 5 or 6 of them here at this course, and he's ranks like in the top 5 of both of those. So I really like that. And like we talked about earlier, scrambling, Patrick Reed is the scrambler of all scramblers. Like his short game is unbelievable. Yeah. If he's close to the green, it pretty much means he's on the green compared to other people, because his second shot, out of rough or out of sticky situations or just chipping the ball up there, he almost like sees those shots as putts. Like he putts them into the, he rolls them into those holes. So I have a lot of faith in him this week. And even though the number is low at 125, I really like him at top 20, because I think it's pretty close to almost, he'll be there for sure.
Here's what I'll say about Reed. Go look who he's priced near. He's like 33, 35 to 1, depending on where you look. Go look who's around him and how many wins they have versus how many wins he has. He has legit wins, and he's got 10 of them. And nobody else around him is remotely close to 10 wins. So if you're looking for an outright who's maybe a little bit underpriced, that'd be maybe an option. But
correct me if I'm wrong, but is Corey Connors priced higher than him or lower than him?
Yes. Yeah. I'm telling you, there's guys with 0 win equity priced above him, and that dude wins golf tournaments. And he doesn't always have to be in good form to win. So, if he gets his irons going right for a week, his short game is super, super elite.
It's elite, yeah.
Yeah.
I like it.
So, all right, Grant, I see that you've got a prop bet maybe here. I like it a lot. I did not see this earlier. You sent it to me, and I was like, oh boy, I can see myself losing some money on this one.
Yeah, this is top former University of Texas player, and it's Jordan Spieth. I'm going to try to ride off just what you said about him winning this golf tournament. It's plus 110, but that doesn't sound great. But he's only going against Scotty Scheffler, Doug Ghim, and Dylan Fratelli. Doug Ghim has never played in this event before, and Fratelli has been bad. He's missed 4 of his last 5 cuts on tour, or 4 of his last 5 cuts on in the events he's played on tour. So I'm almost treating it as a matchup between Scotty Scheffler. So if it's just him and Scotty Scheffler, and if the book gave you that at 110, we would hammer that. Yeah. So I'm going to take it just like that. Jordan Spieth, top former Texas player, that's going to replace my margin bet this week. Because the book will not offer it, it's not because I'm scared of it, because I would be betting it.
Yeah, I like that a lot. Spieth's by far the best player of that group. Yeah. All right, time for my bad golfer I'm betting of the week segment. This week, it's Kyle Stanley. It might be a little disrespectful to Kyle Stanley. Not sure Kyle Stanley is a bad. I don't know if he's really a bad golfer, but he's been playing some really nice golf of late, and he got 8th last week, 26th week before, 39th the week before that, and 14th at the Valero 2 weeks before that. Plus, he has 3 top 10s at Memorial in 6 tries. Stanley's a really, really good iron player. The rest of his game, not so great, which is why he qualifies. That's why he qualifies for the bad golfer segment. But, I mean, he gains off the tee every week, which is probably going to be helpful this week. His approach play is plenty good enough. If he's on the green enough or he doesn't have to chip and he can give himself some good looks, I like him a lot. 4-1 on a top 20. I haven't looked at his 30, 40 odds, but I think that they'd be definitely bettable. That's where I'm going this week. And sorry, Kyle Stanley, I'm not sure you're bad, but you're pretty far down the list, so you get to qualify.
That's a great bet, and it's more about a not good golfer, right? It's not that he's that particularly bad, but he's not crazy good, and he's got a little variation in how he finishes. So, well, a lot of it. So, I love that bet. Guys who can ball strike like him and put it on the green, just give him the opportunity to put some putts in, and heck, I'm right there, 4-1. I love that.
Definitely. All right, best bet. Who do you got this week?
I'm going to make this really quick. Mark Leishman, top 30. So I touted Leishman as my outright at 80, right? So I'm like, I'm going to look around at his other numbers because sometimes those numbers are, they're kind of leveled as they go down, like top 20s and top 30. It kind of goes down the list of outright numbers. And he was 225 to top 30. And if I think he can win, then all I need to do is have him up there in that top group, right?
Yeah.
And like I said, he's made the cut every single year. He's not a great off the tee player, and he definitely hasn't been, this spring or this, coming into right now. But these fairways are wide, just like we talked. Guys can hit fairways here, and if he's in the fairway, then he'll 100% be in the mix. He might not be up there to win. If he does, great, we'll have him at 80. But if not, we'll have him right there at top 30, 225. I think that's a great number.
Yeah, that's a super good number for a guy as good as him and with his track record here. And it's insurance for your 80 to 1 in case you get gut punched on Sunday. But
100%.
My best bet this week, Charlie Hoffman, top 20, plus 163. I can't believe that they're – I mean, I get that Charlie Hoffman's not exactly the world beater, but he's been a world beater. He's got 9 top 20s in 12 starts since the start of 2021. He's third in strokes gained approach and opportunities gained over the last 36 rounds. He's getting it on the green and he's hitting it close. His putting has been plenty good enough. Sometimes his putting can get a little streaky. Hoffman is a naturally streaky player. If you were paying attention to him last week, pretty sure he shot even one round and 8 under the next round. So if he shoots poorly Thursday, just hang on because it might be coming on Friday. But I love Hoffman. He's played so good. 9 top 20s and 12 starts. That's 75% hit rate. I get the field's a little bit better, but he's got a pretty good track record here, and he sets up perfectly for this course.
Yeah, this is a confidence thing that I love to ride. When guys are confident, and especially with the skill they have, every single guy who plays on tour is amazing at golf, right? So if you just give them a little bit of confidence, a little bit of belief, like, hey, I can really compete with these guys. It doesn't matter how many wins they have or what their name is or how many, what the cameras and interviews all say. He's going to have a chance. And if he keeps playing like he is, then I'm going to be right there and just keep riding the hot streak.
Tanner, I see your comment. For me, it's the Hoffman bet. He's been so good, and the things that he does well, you have to do well to succeed here. Plus money on a top 20 for him. And if you're talking outright, JT and Spieth, I love those two guys. They make a ton of sense here.
Yeah, and I was just going to say add the top former Texas player with Spieth because he doesn't have to win that bet. And definitely. you're playing against some guys who, Scotty Scheffler is definitely good, but the other guys are who knows where they're going to finish. And if Spieth plays well or just kind of well, he's going to be winning this bet. So I like it.
Yeah, his floor over the last 10 weeks has been crazy high.
Yeah, so. It's fine.
Yeah. All right, let's recap it. I'm going Spieth Matsuyama on outrights. You're going JT Leishman. I really like that Leishman getting you some long shot action. Top 10, Xander, Finau, super good guys with some good course history who can really, really play in every aspect of the game. That's kind of where we're going there. Top 20s, you're going with a guy who's good at golf and really good short game. I'm going with a guy who does it all with his irons, Keegan Bradley. Matchups, shop around. If you see a guy that we like if there's a Spieth matchup that you find on a book that you have access to, or Justin Thomas or whatever, some other guy that we've mentioned that, we don't have a matchup for, that would be something that I would be looking at because we really didn't have a lot to pick from.
Nope. Yeah, shop around. Just get guys. Just because we say the bet, you could change the bet with the guy, right? Like if you like a certain guy, he could be top 10, top 20, top 30. He could be a matchup. He could be an each way. Just get whatever you can get of the value that you have, and ride the guys who are going to finish high.
Yeah, best bets. I'm going Hoffman. You're going Leishman. Both of those guys make a ton of sense for Memorial. And then I'm going to go with my guy Kyle Stanley as guy who's not very good, but he's going to play well this week. And then like the you just talked about, Spieth, top Texas player, his floor so high that bet might be over Friday night.
The gap between Spieth and those other three players, you could add them all together and there'd still be a gap. So,
all right, get your bets in, and we'll see you next week. Good luck.
See ya.